Hi, all you SPMEs out there. Today's question has 3 answers, and the third answer is a secret you're going to want to stick around for, because I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be discouraged by the answer to today's question. So let's get into it. The question that was sent in was, how much does a self-published book make? Now, this is a question that anybody who's getting interested in self-publishing wants to know before you get started. Maybe if it doesn't make enough money, if it's only going to make a few cents, or that you might not jump in, or if it was going to make millions of dollars, then you maybe should jump into self-publishing. So that's one group of people who would be asking this question. But another group also would be very interested would be, maybe you have self-published a book and now you're disappointed in the sales, or wondering, how are you doing in comparison to other authors who have also published also self-published books, so that you would be able to compare. Maybe you're doing better, or maybe you're doing worse than the average author, and wondering what's going on. Usually it's people making less, and that is usually the trigger of why people ask this question in the first place, and this is what we're going to answer today. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Click the subscribe bell if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one, and check out below in my description and you will find my absolutely free self-publishing checklist that will help you ensure you're not skipping any steps to optimizing your books. So, how much does a self-published book make? Well, let me tell you a little bit about my own story. When I first got started self-publishing, I actually wasn't even interested in how much money a book makes. I was just interested in, is it possible to get my ideas out into the world without it being too painful? That was my first starting point. But once I got my books out, then I was thinking, well, I would really like it if I could get a sale a day off of my books. That was my first intention. And after reading up a bit, I began to understand on Amazon, if your basic sales rank is in the top 100,000, then you will be making a sale a day. Now, some of my books did way better than this after I learned some tricks on optimizing those books, and other books I had completely flop, at least in one format, but maybe on audiobooks they did fine. Do you see? So, because you have the Kindle and the paperback and the EPUB and the hardback and the audio, and you have all of these different formats, and you have the different platforms. And so some things do well some places, and some other places of the books, of the 170 plus books that I currently have available. And so, it fluctuates. So some of my books would be even in the top, they'd be an Amazon bestseller for several weeks, and then they would move. They could go into much worse range than that in the top million or whatever. And then we just see, a little sale here and there showing up across this platform or that platform, like popcorn, just pop, 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 pop. And the more books we have out there, well, obviously we're able to make more money. But I was so excited when I did start seeing books that were selling 5-10 copies a day. It was unbelievable. I was very, very happy with that. Now, of course, I've seen people making 50, 1,000 copies a day. I mean, crazy sales on some people. You hit the lottery, optimize the book properly, enter in exactly the correct niche, and that these things can happen. But that isn't my interest. My interest is just in terms of optimizing the books to make as much money as possible off of each individual book. That gets my books in the hands of more people, and we can help a lot more people with the books that I'm currently putting on the market. And so I found that, yes, it's possible to make thousands and thousands of dollars off individual books. Even $1,000 a month would be completely just fine. So how much does a self-published book make? Well, let's get into the answers for today. On average, a paperback self-published book is going to sell 250 copies total. That is in the entire lifetime of that book. And if you multiply that by, let's say that book is making you a royalty of $5, well, then that would be $1,250 in the entire lifetime of that particular book. Now, if your books are costing you nothing to produce, or if you're hiring them out with ghostwriters, for example, to write some of these books, you can produce books for around $300. So you could see that you would still be making a profit off of books, even if you were just getting the average. But the average is lousy. I'll just tell you right out front, that's terrible. So the second answer of the day is, many books sell far below this, and you need to consider other formats. And so this is one of the biggest problems, which is based upon the total number of 2 million books produced a year, self-published books, you're going to need to look in terms of your distribution, like I was discussing earlier, and also the formats you're doing. And so that's where the secret answer of the day. You shouldn't get demotivated by this thing, 250 copies, but that's over the lifespan. So this could be years worth. And so first of all, we need to optimize, making sure you're writing books that are in a good niche and market. That's our first thing. If you're writing in a terrible market where nobody's buying books on that subject, you're going to make way below this average of 250 copies, right, for the paperback sold on a given book. However, if you're selling in a hot market, well, then you're going to sell it. You could sell thousands of copies of your book, which is what I've done. Some of my books, even tens of thousands. It's crazy the amount of sales that can go through individual books. So if you want to beat it, you need to make sure you're in a market that people want to buy. Secondly, you need to optimize the formatting of the book so people will be happy and not leave negative reviews for it. And I use a program called Jutoh. You can find below in the description for the link for that I like to use. That really helps you make books that pop. And then the final thing is you need to optimize on the marketing side. You need to make sure that the way that people see your book, that is to say the sales page, your cover, your title, all of these, your description, these things fit together and tell people exactly what the book's about in a way that would make them want to buy your specific book. And so you're going to want then to make sure you do that. And then finally, we're going to run ads against the book. And so we have that. So that's all of it just for a single book. And then we're going to distribute it across as many distributors as possible. I like Ingram Spark, Lulu, Smashwords, Kindle, and ACX for the different distributors, and also distribute the distributors. And then we're going to have it in all of the different formats you could imagine. It should be paperback. It should be Kindle, ebook. It should also be an EPUB book that would be distributed across many of the others. It'll be also hardback and audio. So we have 5 different formats just right there, and including 2 different forms of paperbacks. That's 6 different ones for any given book. And the reason you might be wondering why would you do that is because your readers are going to be spread out throughout the world and on different forums and different formats that they specifically like. And following this recipe, you will be able to ensure you're going to be selling 250 copies, way more than that, probably 500 to thousands, maybe 10,000. I don't know how many copies, but you're going to get a lot better sales on each of the books that you produce. Then what's the next goal? Produce more books. You see it? And so then we just keep going. We just keep producing more books and putting it into the cycle and making sure we're following Amazon's rules and abiding by their rules so that we do not get our accounts banned. But even if you did, you're using on these other sites, so that keeps you pretty safe. So how much does a self-published book make? What have you found? Go and let me know below in the comments. I respond to 100% of all the comments that come through. And check up above me here for more answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.